The second half of the program is live. Like, what else would it be? Great to have all of you with us. Matt Stinchcomb here. And Matt, Aggie fans are calling in. They're trying to figure out what is wrong. What is wrong?
There's not a lot right on offense, that's for sure. I mean, you've won games, so that's okay. They've got issues. There's no two ways about it. And it goes beyond, I think, just the quarterback position. You know, when you look at that game the other day, it didn't look great before Haynes King became injured. But the four new faces on the offensive front, and including Green, frankly, really, that performance would be concerning, and I'd be shocked. You know, we've heard Jimbo Fisher, I think, 2 weeks in a row now say, you know, there's some issues we got to get cleaned up. A lot of this is on me. That's coach speak for get your minds right, because when Tuesday comes around, and probably Monday too, it's going to get very, very real. We're going to find out. We happen to have them Saturday. That's one of my questions for Coach Fisher is, what's it been like? So has practice and preparation changed? Has there been a hard reset? Because when you look at the mistakes that are happening, and by mistakes I mean blown assignments, not just physical errors like, we got some new guys in there, I had a freshman in there at center. There's going to be some growing pains. You're facing a Power 5 opponent in Colorado, albeit nothing like what you're going to see as the season unfolds. So some of those guys are going to be behind the curve physically. There's a reason why they weren't starting before. And it's not just on the offensive front. You know, Jalen Weidermeyer, who in the box score seemingly had a pretty good game and had some key catches. In the run game and in protection, he's got to play a lot better than he did the other night. And receivers have to step up. They played a lot of man coverage, did Colorado, and they could not get separation. There's a lot of question marks in this A&M offense to give you pause. The good news is that defense looks legit. It looks, you know, Georgia-esque. If Georgia's thought to be a bar this year defensively, they look really good. They're built differently, of course. They're structured differently in their defense. They've got a really good defense. They've got some wood to chop on offense.
Just to try to get some context here, you know, they play this game against Colorado. They barely get out of there. They're on the road, but you know, they're really not on the road. They're in a neutral. Well, it's not a neutral site, but it's not a home stadium. So I don't think that's a big factor. My question to you is, if Colorado was in the SEC, where would they rank? Where would you have them?
They wouldn't be real high, Paul. I mean,
they would be.
Yeah, this is not a good proxy.
We're talking second division.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're talking about a team now. So I say Power 5. It's a Pac-12 team. Nobody in this part of the country, including me, really have a real great awareness of that because I'm asleep when they play.
Sure.
But by the time I wake up and I see what happened and great they won or lost, I don't pay much attention to them. You put them in the SEC and you look at that roster, and they've got some good players. They had a couple of nice front seven players in that game. They aren't going to be a good substitute to give you an idea of what you're going to look like when you are lining up against the balance of your SEC West schedule, and including your crossover games. It's concerning. And so they can improve. They have to improve.
I mean, of the 7 SEC West schools, would they be picked to finish 7th?
Colorado?
Yeah.
I mean, based on what I've seen, I'd put them close to that. You know, maybe it's 6, depending on which Mississippi State you get that week, right? But to me, it's not a team that's contending for a division. And coming into the season on the heels of last year, if you're A&M, you're going, hey, now we're starting to catch our stride. Last year we got host. We're the first one out. We're sitting just outside the college football playoff. And the rankings have kind of reflected that expectation. And then you play the way that you did. And look, it is a shock to the system to lose your quarterback. There's no doubt.
Sure.
The concern is the performance of all the other players around that quarterback, where you're going, this is where you rally. This is where a really good team says, new face in the huddle, this guy's got the ball in his hands, we got to up our game. And it could not come at a poorer time in that you've got 4 new faces up front, you've got those known commodities in the backfield, but those guys aren't handing it, tossing it, and throwing it to themselves, and I doubt that they're going to go to the direct snap. So it's one of those things where you're going to find out just how good your depth was. You're going to find out just how good your recruiting has been in your development, and they got to figure it out in short order.
So, I mean, fans out there, rightly or wrongly, and probably wrongly, have been obsessed with the October 9th matchup to Alabama. But you look at the schedule, and you have Mississippi State and Arkansas before that.
Arkansas? So now, if you're an A&M fan, you should be pretty puckered right about now. I mean, you really should. I mean, there was a lot of chirping around, coming into the season, and And when Texas came in, I think some Arkansas tweets came out kind of dunking on A&M, and A&M points out the string of victories that they have over Arkansas. Well, right now, Arkansas has got substantial momentum. I think that that's inarguable. But A&M right now with a reset at quarterback, and there's opportunity to get better, there's no doubt, because you think those number one reps have been going to Haynes King, and obviously there's only so many of those practice reps to go around. That's going to compromise how you play. We saw how Aaron Rodgers played the other night. He's one of the best to ever do it. He needs practice.
Sure.
You need practice in an offense. But that said, you got to get right, and you got to get right soon. You can't wait till October. You can't wait till that Alabama game, because now a team that perhaps you've been dragging around, leading around by the nose in the SEC West in Arkansas, now all of a sudden they're believing that maybe they're better than they actually are. That you could see that kind of pendulum swinging starting last year. A&M, they've got some fixing to do. This is a good opportunity this week versus a former SEC quarterback, Terry Wilson, a guy that got beat down in his last trip to College Station when he was with Kentucky. He's a quarterback at New Mexico, and this is a chance for them to try to find a way to get right, especially on that offensive side of the ball.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.